Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories today from MSNBC, Supreme Court allows Trump to revoke protective status for thousands of Venezuelans. As part of its hardline immigration policy, the Trump administration seeks to reverse a Biden-era policy that extended protections for more than 300,000 Venezuelans. So, of course, as you know, the Democrats don't like that President Trump is the president or the chief executive, and so they aren't really trying to solve problems as much as they are just simply trying to slow him down with legal orders and injunctions, which we clearly can see. The Supreme Court gave the Trump administration the green light Monday to revoke special legal protections for thousands of Venezuelan immigrants, which could pave the way for at least some of them to be deported. The High Court granted an emergency application filed by the administration, meaning officials can move forward with reversing a decision made at the tail end of the Biden administration to extend protections for almost 350,000 Venezuelans under the federal temporary protective status program. The brief order noted that the liberal justices 𝐀𝐦𝐚𝐳𝐨 𝐀𝐻𝐿𝐴 would have denied the application. Legislation will now continue in lower courts. Of course, as we already knew this was the largest single action stripping any group of non-citizens of immigration status in modern U.S. history. So, as we see here, the contention continues and the argumentation continues and these injunctions continue. But what people have to realize is what they seem to overlook by the media is that Joe Biden allowed for these individuals to break the 8 U.S. Code 1325 improper entry by alien. So they came into the country illegally. By virtue of their existence and their agency in the United States is the violation. So when they're in court, they are right there as the illegal alien. There's your evidence. So we have improper time or place in these civil penalties of fines. And they have marriage fraud and then immigration-related entrepreneurship fraud. So these are the kind of things that they try to skirt under all of these different things. But yeah, Joe Biden allowed for the violation of 8 U.S. Code 1325 improper entry by alien. And this isn't anything particularly unusual or surprising by the Democrats. And as you see here, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 2 of the United States Constitution deals with the writ of habeas corpus. It states that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended except when, in case of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. So there are provisions that Donald Trump is trying to explore and utilize, like the Aliens Act, right? I thought I had that pulled up, but apparently I must have closed it out. But that was part of the contention, is that these individuals being from gangs and others pose a threat to society, pose a threat to our society. So he's trying to expedite this process. So Article 1, Section 9, Clause 2 is not always mentioned here because the writ of habeas corpus, of course, we as Americans have this ability, right, that allows us to go to court immediately. Now, this was not granted to the J6ers because they were under the Patriot Act. So they weren't given this privilege. This is another thing that isn't mentioned either, is they weren't given the privilege of habeas corpus because they were under a whole other set of circumstances. But nonetheless, it's interesting because what we've discovered and what we've talked about is what was the purpose of all these people coming to the United States? And of course, we covered this a few days ago where we talked about with ChatGPT, of course, because the conspiracy was, of course, is that the Democrats were trying to bring in artificial individuals into the country. And I call them artificial, but in other words, a replacement, as it were. The replacement theory has now been blown because I'm going to talk about that here in just a moment. But as you can see, theoretically, I'm just saying theoretically here, the Democrats could place individuals in certain areas, as we've talked about here. For example, in 2008, an average state is awarded 1 electoral vote for every 565,000 people. However, Wyoming has 3 electoral votes with only 532,000 citizens. As a result, each of Wyoming's 3 electoral voters corresponds to 177,000 people. Understood in one way, these people have 3.18 times as much clout in the Electoral College as the average American, or 318%. So you can shift these people around. And of course, they talk about gerrymandering and these sorts of things, but there had to be more than a reason why the Democrats wanted these individuals here. And we've already discovered it now, right? So I know what people are going to say. I know how petty people can be. I know Charlie Kirk misspelled her name. These things happen, ladies and gentlemen. They really do. And then when people try to pile on, yeah, it's not going to work. You can try it, but it's not going to work on my channel either. But here we have Charlie Kirk saying Hillary Clinton says it's performative for President Trump to encourage Americans to have children, says that's what illegal immigrants are for, which is, I think, well, maybe racist. But yeah, she goes on to wax for the first part of this about Project 2025 and how, these immigrants do this, that, and the other. But a lot of what she said could be easily interpreted as racist and a bit hyperbolic. But I want you to hear it in her own words, because for a long time, this wasn't necessarily something we covered here on the channel, but it was talked about as the great replacement theory, right? Is that Americans were being replaced and these things were going to happen, and the Democrats were going to get new voters and this sort and the other. Now you can hear it directly from the horse's mouth, Hillary Clinton.
Which is sort of odd, because the people who produce the most children in our country are immigrants, and they...
Now see, is that not racist? Does that not have some type of racist tone to it? That kind of sounds like, oh, these people are this, these people are that. I mean, it's awful.
We want to deport them. So none of this adds up. But, one of the reasons why our economy did so much better than comparable advanced economies...
Okay, that's debatable. That whole thing is completely debatable.
...across the world is because we actually had a replenishment, because we had a lot of immigrants legally and undocumented.
See, she uses the word replenishment here. She's trying to be very careful with her language, because earlier she was talking about Project 2025, which Donald Trump never adopted. He was never on board with Project 2025. It was not included in his particular outline for his campaign.
Who had a, larger than normal, by American standards, family. So this is just another one of their, make America great again by returning to the lifestyles and the economic arrangements of not just the 1950s. I mean, let's keep going back as far as we can.
So basically her argument is that Donald Trump and his agenda was they wanted to encourage Americans to have children, right? To return to what would be a Christian value system, right, in our country. So she was kind of, poking at that. But it is fascinating, is it not? Because nothing that she really says that Trump is doing or outlining is really anything unusual, right? It's not like the exaggerations that they were making when it came to the Handmaid's Tale and these camps. I've not seen any. Have you seen any of these camps where they're rounding up LGBT people or breeding camps? I've not seen any of these things anywhere. I'm pretty sure that the Democrats and the media would certainly be able to find them right away, because they would want to substantiate their exaggeration, right? Wouldn't they want to substantiate their exaggeration and sensationalizing by actually showing the things that they exaggerate and sensationalize? But of course they don't, because they try to control the narrative. They believe that everyone's dumber than they are, and you just have to take their word for it. They'll tell you what opinion to have. They'll tell you what thoughts to do. They'll tell you how to vote. They'll tell you what's actually going on, when in reality they have a narrative that is being driven. And as you can see here, Hillary Clinton basically came out, and as Charlie Kirk says, as Hillary says, it is performative for President Trump to encourage Americans to have children. She says that's what illegal immigrants are for. To me, that seems very racist. It really does. I mean, it's just, to me, that is very much in line with that, in line with their own arguments. But ladies and gentlemen, I welcome your thoughts and comments down in the public section. Don't you find the injunctions and all these legal challenges just as roadblocks? They're just timeouts for Donald Trump. He's not trying to create an issue with individuals right now that are in the country for asylum and these sorts of things. And of course, many of them who claim asylum don't even come to their court dates. So you got to take that in consideration too. So not only are they violating 8 U.S. Code 1325, but they don't show up to their court dates. And so these creates lots of problems. And the Democrats knew this. They knew that it would be impossible for any administration to try to provide due process for 21 million people. That's just absolute. So all of these things had a motive. All of these things had some underlying issue that they were focusing on. But I welcome your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section. What you guys think about these injunctions? Is Donald Trump doing exactly what you voted for him? Or do you think that somehow they should give all these individuals, all 21 million of them, this legal process, but even though they're already in the country illegally, and by their very presence here is the violation of our law? So you guys want to let me know down in the comments. Of course, I want to thank all you guys across New Tech, as well as BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, and everyone here on YouTube for your guys' continued support. Below the video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, so I encourage you guys to check those out, and affiliate ones as well. And, of course, you can always follow me on X, of course, as we see here. But I do appreciate your guys' continued support here on the channel. Let me quick do a stop here. And but appearing there on the screen, that'll be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That we know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.